just going to read this. The truth is not arbitrary or a matter of opinion, but can be investigated. For those who earnestly search for the truth will find it. The truth is hidden to the blind, but he who has the mental eye sees the truth. And that was Buddha. And it's the same kind of archetype as the character that they now call Jesus. Jesus, has been externalized. Buddha has been externalized. Krishna, externalized. Hermes thrice majestic, externalized. And that's what they've done. They've externalized these archetypes. The simple truth of the matter is that you are Buddha. You are Jesus, Krishna, Hermes Trismegistus, all these different archetypes, these men of renown, and they utter dark sayings of old. And even the character Jesus says, seek earnestly, the kingdom of God is within. Let thine eye be single. They're the same archetype, but they're giving these archetype stories, these ancient writings are giving you, as Buddha says, the investigator. But it's invest, eye, gate. So those with the mental eye, invest, eye, gate. Everything in this world is a lie. The way it's constructed, this system of hierarchies, and it serves a purpose because those that find themselves trapped in this societal, cultural hierarchy, whether you're in the middle, higher up or lower, it doesn't matter. But you start to look at it and you start to see the inequity of it, the injustice of it. And if you can't recognize what's going on in the world right now, then you are truly blind. And those people just won't be on my channel anyway. They just won't be. And the people are trapped in an exoteric world. And they don't see anything. They don't ask any questions. Or if they do ask a question, they accept the answer that's given by somebody else, rather than working it out for themselves, using their own God, the brain. The three-tier system, the reptilian, the limbic and the cortex, the neocortex. So somebody who is, speaking from my own experience, somebody who's looking at the world, what the fuck is going on here? And then you recognize that it's wrong, it's all wrong, and it causes anxiety, it causes fear. And then people they get washed up with some group think, whether it be religion or a particular political group think or whatever. There's all these distractions put there, and they get washed up in that for a short while, and then they see the bullshit in there as well, because they're not getting any straight answers to the questions, because the people they're surrounded by haven't questioned anything either. They're just washed along. Then you start reading stuff for yourself. You might hear things like lockstep. What the fuck is that? So you go on the internet and you'll type in lockstep. You might hear about Agenda 2020 or Agenda 2030. You'll start reading about it, and you'll realise that it's all the governments are following a script. So if they're all following a script which is external to each individual country, then you'll recognise that democracy is a farce as well, and each government is owned, lock, stock and barrel. So voting, it's meaningless. Always has been. You get two parties to choose from, and they just offer two sides of the same fucking coin. Two faces. The god Janus. It even brings you to the calendar. The calendar's a fucking mess. That's a confused Babylonian Roman Catholic nonsense. Going back to Pope Gregory, he realised that 10 days were missing. Was it 1592 or something? And I can't remember what month it was. It was something like October the 5th, and so they added 10 days. So you went to bed on the 5th and woke up on the 15th. That's just insane. You know, September, sept means 7. October means 8. November is 9. December is 10. December, decimal. but it's the 12th. And they have this calendar so they can work out Easter, their Ishtar celebration, which is very important to the Romans. The death of Jesus. They like that. The death of consciousness. Even the numbering system is wrong. We're all taught to count 1 to 10. It's all wrong. Everything's wrong. And Monday is Moon Day. It's just laughable. It's infantile. And we're caught up in this system. You get the weekend off after working your job. Job, or Job in Hebrew, means punishment. But then you get the weekend off because you're weakened. It's just insane. The days of the week, Monday to Friday, the grind. In a daze. That's how bad it is, and it's literally there. Even the numbers are wrong. It's just everything's wrong, and it's all designed to stop you thinking outside of the box. We're all individuals, you know. Some people are good at this, some people are good at that. But you go through the school system, and as a child learning math, I despised it, and even to this day, I don't like numbers, don't like math, because it humiliates people. Learn the 12 times table. I had to stand in front of my dad and recite that, and I wouldn't. I just refused to. And looking back on those days a long time ago, that was rebellion. And it's been with me ever since. It's just kind of hidden, gone into the background a little bit as you try and search your way through this fucked up world. You know, the Roman numerals. If you look at the Roman numerals, and if you go, 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, 500, if you add them all up, it's 666. The whole thing's nuts. And the governments are talking about freedom. But if you really want freedom, now's the time. Look, you're not the body, you're not even the mind. The mind's just a program. You know, it just runs in the background. When you're meditating, it'll be running in the background, trying to get your attention. Because that's what it does. It's just a program, but in time you'll learn to turn it off. And you'll learn to turn it on, because it's a servant. And the higher self is your conscious awareness. And your mind will tell you to do all sorts of absurd things. And this is where you start to learn to rule your kingdom. There are no tests for this. You are literally being asked to do nothing. And at some point on this journey, if you follow the simple instructions, like cleaning your house, getting all that dead shit out, and then going within, at some point you'll be asked a question, and the question might be formulated like, whose side are you on? Or as another individual in the comments said, have you had enough yet? Because it's always there, but it's been obfuscated by the system, that is, and it's been hidden by the mind. But those two things have served their purpose. They're done. Their games are over. So you don't want to be guided by government. You don't want to be guided by your friends or your family or your wife. The only thing in the world worth studying is really young children, but they can't tell you what they know because they're born with it. It's natural to them, but you've forgotten it. Look, who do you think you are? Your consciousness is there from the beginning, and it will be there at the end, the Alpha and the Omega. So before your mind came on the scene, when you was a toddler learning to walk, your mind wasn't there. So what was doing the teaching then? Your parents didn't teach you to walk. They might have held you up and steadied you, but they didn't teach you to walk. It was a natural intelligence. Learning to speak. That, repetition. Learning to speak Babylonian, the shit you inherited from your parents. But that consciousness was there before the mind was. And when you meditate, that's what you're going back to. The eternally spotless mind. So when you're trying to meditate and the mind is getting in the way, and you recognize that you can't control it, don't be negative. That's a realization of a profound truth, that you've got this thing in your head and you can't shut it up. That's called progress. But all too often people get, oh, I can't do it. Oh. And again, that emboldens the mind. Do you see? But when you recognize that you can't control it, then you'll just ignore it. Or you'll step back from it. You'll have a shift in consciousness. Remember, Jesus says, I come to bring division. So the shift in consciousness, that's the division. It's not a physical thing, but you will feel it. It's like being zoomed out. And then you become an observer or watcher. And you're watching the mind. You're not judging it, you're just watching it. And it's not about judging, it's about discerning. So you can look at the government and you can ask yourself, is the government actually doing me any favours? And the answer, without thinking, discernment, setting apart the mind, that's what discernment means. And you will intuitively know the answer. Has religion told me the truth? But because you've been investigating, you'll come to the conclusion that no, they haven't. Don't get caught up in the good and evil thing, trying to combat the system, trying to take down religion. That will come down all on its own. Nature is free. Everything's free. Everything's in a state of flux, constant movement. Nothing is set in, nothing is rigid. But human systems, systems of government, systems of industry, it's all rigid, it's inflexible. If you're trying to get into a building, if you don't have the correct pass, you won't get in. You can apply that to documents of travel. If you don't have the passport, you have these rigid mechanisms. But nature, flies and fish swim, there's no borders. So you've got this artificial matrix spread over. And they're losing control because people are asking questions. So they're tightening up the control because they think they're doing good. Because they're worldly wise. But they're fools. I know this for a fact, that the more they control, the more the universe will push back. The unified field pushes back. I know for a fact that as things are taken from me in the physical, it will be given to me in the metaphysical. I know that for a fact. So I don't worry about things. Let's propose for a moment that in this brave new world where I say no to all the edicts and dogmas, and I mean it, but they can't do anything to me. But they can remove my privileges. Your driving license is a privilege. It's not yours, it belongs to the government. The ownership or the right to keep a vehicle can be revoked and the vehicle will be removed from you. And that will limit my ability to travel. They could ban the likes of me from public transport. If it goes down that road, where you can't keep a bank account or you can't have a job, what will you do? Now there are preppers. You can have a basement full of bombs and bullets, tinned food, gallons and gallons of water. Doesn't matter. That's physical. What I'm talking about, the things I'm talking about, the stuff I'm trying to point you into is the metaphysical. You can't kill consciousness. No, you can kill the body. But this is where, the character Jesus, take no thought for your body, take no thought for your life. So all these people concerned about their life or the things that they have. I'll tell you this now. What would you give? What are you prepared to give up? What are you prepared to lose for the truth? Think about it. I've lost everything, but I've gained no thing. That sounds like a bit of a riddle. I've had a rise in consciousness, a shift in consciousness, but all the little toys I had, all that stuff, it's all gone. I facilitated that. But it's going to get to the stage where these things are going to be taken from people. And I would suggest that you learn to let go now. So when they come to take things, then give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give it happily. And give to God what belongs to God. A big trick is being played. A big deception is being rolled out. I mean, the jib jab, Fauci's ouchie, that's just the beginning of it. When they use the electromagnetic spectrum to give people Kundalini-like symptoms. A powerful deception. And if it's possible, it will even fool the elect. But is it possible? All you've got to do is say yes. All you've got to do is clean your house and go within, and you'll be asked. Now's the time. It's not being hidden. The veil is being lifted. It's not lifted out there, it's lifted in here. And then you, the individual, will be asked. And then it starts to roll. Your DNA fires up. The systems in your body pick up. It's written in the Torah, I will forgive them. I will give to them, even though they don't deserve it. Or he actually says, even though you don't deserve it. So it's not about being good. It's not about being nice and all the rest of it for the sake of it. I'm not saying those things are bad. I'm just saying it's just another act. Fuck me, we go to the cinemas and we watch, what was his name? Joaquin Phoenix, who plays the Joker. And he's playing a lunatic, a psychopath, and we love that character. It's a fantastic film, by the way. Very esoteric. But he plays that character and we love it, and he got various awards for it. So we clap and applaud what is portrayed as evil on the silver screen. Because we know it's just a show. And ultimately it's all a show. But do you want to be in the Actors Guild, or do you want to be a co-creator with the script writer? I'll leave that there.